The internet is going crazy right now. Charleston White just dropped a bomb about Chrisean Rock's parenting, and what he revealed will shock you. From reckless pregnancy choices to shocking neglect, this story isn't just drama, it's a wake-up call. You won't believe what her son has been through, and why people are saying this could be his breaking point. Stay tuned, because the truth you're about to hear is too intense to ignore. The internet is buzzing right now, and it's all because Charleston White went off on Chrisean Rock. He didn't hold back, calling her a terrible mother and claiming she's been mishandling her son from day one. And honestly, some people online are starting to think he might actually be telling the truth. It all kicked off when Chrisean went on one of her usual loud rants online. She insisted that anyone who speaks against her son is going to die, claiming she loves him more than anything, and that she's just a struggling mom raising an autistic child while the world judges her. She tried to frame it like she's the victim, attacked for no reason, but Charleston White wasn't having it. On a podcast, he jumped in and spoke his mind without holding back. "Yeah, we're all going to die someday," he said. "But let's be real, she's been a terrible mother from the start, even before that boy was born." His words weren't just hot takes. He claimed that he had even predicted some of the challenges her son would face long before the baby entered the world. For Charleston, this wasn't about drama, which about pointing out patterns that everyone else seemed to be ignoring. Chrisean Rock, of course, responded. She didn't address Charleston directly, but she went on her usual defensive rant, claiming that anyone who made fun of or criticized her son was doomed to die. Technically, she wasn't wrong. Nobody gets out of life alive, but who'd be? No. Charleston, and countless others, made it clear that mortality doesn't justify mistreatment. Being right about death doesn't make you a good parent. And no amount of warnings about dying haters changes the fact that her child needed care, attention, and stability. This exchange quickly made waves online. People began revisiting every video, clip, and story about Chrisean's parenting, and many were horrified by what they saw. Charleston and Hood weren't just criticizing her in the abstract, they had been there, witnessed the patterns, and knew what was happening behind the scenes. The internet, as always, responded in a mix of outrage and disbelief. Comments flooded in, dissecting her behavior and questioning how a child could thrive in such an environment. Charleston's point was simple. The warning signs were always there. From the moment Chrisean became pregnant, people noticed her reckless lifestyle. Reports of smoking, drinking, partying, and allegedly using heavier substances during her pregnancy had long circulated. Videos of her admitting to these behaviors still floated around online. For many, it begged the question, what kind of mother jeopardizes her child's health even before birth? And yet, very few of her friends or family had confronted her about it, either out of fear, loyalty, or denial. Hood Bino added context that made the situation even clearer. He claimed that the little boy Junior had been treated carelessly from the beginning. He said he had seen the child fall off a bed, unable to stand or help himself, and Chrisean didn't even pick him up. Instead, she let him cry while she continued her business as if nothing had happened. According to Hood, the boy wasn't receiving the attention or care any toddler needs, let alone a child with special needs. This wasn't just occasional neglect, it was a pattern. Hood and Charleston both emphasized that Junior needs proper support, therapy, guidance, and a mother who prioritizes him over social media clout. Right now, neither seems to be happening. Videos of Chrisean using her child as a prop during live streams, ignoring his needs, or displaying reckless behavior like wiping her own runny nose on him, only confirmed what insiders had been saying for months. People began to speculate that she might be under the influence, overwhelmed, or simply incapable of functioning as a parent. And the evidence seemed to support every concern. The discussion also touched on the larger question of responsibility. If a child's environment is clearly harmful, who should step in? Hood was blunt. If he were Blueface, he would have taken Junior long ago. He said the boy deserves love, stability, and care, things Chrisean, in her current state, was not able to provide. This wasn't about blame or shaming, it was about what the child needed to thrive. Hood expressed his genuine affection for Junior, saying he loves the boy and wishes him the best, but acknowledged that love alone can't fix neglect. Without real support, therapy, and proper attention, Junior's chances of growth and development were at risk. The online conversation also highlighted the tension between public scrutiny and real-life consequences. Chrisean's antics, like leaving Junior unattended in a car while streaming online, had already attracted the attention of Child Protective Services. She faced serious backlash and even a Twitch ban, but the expected wake-up call never seemed to stick. The public watched, criticized, and hoped for change, but instead, Patterns of neglect continued. Charleston and Hood stressed that Cown could not change what she refused to acknowledge. If she didn't admit her behavior was harmful, nothing else could improve. Now, with new clips circulating like the one showing Cown wiping her nose on her son, the stakes feel even higher. Charleston White's words resonate louder than ever, and the online community is watching closely. Many fear that this could be Junior's breaking point, the moment that finally triggers intervention. The question everyone is asking is urgent. How much longer will this child remain at risk if no one steps in? Is Cown truly overwhelmed by circumstances? Or is her recklessness simply putting her son in danger? Amid all the chaos surrounding Chrisean Rock and her parenting, there's a deeply human side to the story that too many people overlook. Hood and Charleston White aren't just critics throwing opinions online. They're witnesses to a child struggling under neglect, and their concern comes from first-hand experience. They've seen the way Junior, a little boy who depends entirely on the adults around him, has been treated, and they've chosen to speak out because remaining silent would mean turning a blind eye to suffering. Their voices carry weight because they aren't motivated by drama, clout, or social media attention. They're motivated by a genuine desire to see a child safe, loved, and given the chance to thrive. Parenting, as Hood and Charleston stress, isn't about how many followers you have, how many likes you get on a video, or how perfectly curated your online image looks. It's not about flexing or keeping up appearances. Real parenting is quiet, consistent, and often thankless work. It's about showing up every day, being patient when your child tests limits, and sacrificing your own desires for the well-being of someone who can't fend for themselves. Every choice a parent makes, every action they take or fail to take affects the child, sometimes in ways that only become visible years later. For Junior, the consequences of neglect are already beginning to show. The small moments that many might dismiss, leaving a toddler unattended, ignoring basic needs, brushing off accidents or injuries, add up over time. Children are resilient, but they are not impervious. Every ignored cry, every careless act, every moment when attention and care should have been given but wasn't, compounds into a larger pattern of instability. Over time, this pattern shapes the way a child sees the world, trusts others, and even develops emotionally and mentally. Hood and Charleston understand this, and that understanding is what makes their warnings so urgent. They aren't speaking abstractly, they're pointing to real consequences for a real child, whose life hangs in the balance. What's striking about their perspective is how they humanize the child amid the chaos. It's easy for the internet to reduce Junior's story to clips, drama, or viral moments, but Hood and Charleston remind everyone that this is a living, breathing little boy. He isn't a prop for live streams or a character in online gossip. He's a child with needs for stability, love, and guidance that, at this moment, he isn't fully receiving. Every skipped meal, every ignored cry, every reckless stunt performed while he's in harm's way chips away at the foundation of his safety and trust. The issue isn't just what has already happened, it's what could happen if the patterns continue. Childhood is a critical period, and the way a child is nurtured during these formative years can define the trajectory of their life. Trauma, neglect, and instability can leave lasting scars, affecting behavior, emotional health, and even physical development. Hood and Charleston are sounding the alarm not because they enjoy conflict, but because they know how high the stakes are. They are advocating for intervention, care, and a shift in priorities, because they understand that failing to act could have irreversible consequences for Junior. What makes this situation even more poignant is the broader lesson about accountability and awareness. Too often, people focus on appearances or excuses. They defend recklessness as struggling parenting or minimize the harm done to children by citing their own hardships. Hood and Charleston's stance cuts through that noise. Love and intention aren't enough if action doesn't follow. Consistent care, attention, and responsibility are what truly define being a parent. Every parent has flaws, but recognizing them and actively working to protect and nurture a child is non-negotiable. In the end, Charleston's blunt honesty and Hood's eyewitness accounts serve as a wake-up call. Children depend on adults to provide safety and stability, and nothing excuses neglect. Junior's story has become a cautionary tale, highlighting what can happen when parenting fails to prioritize the child's well-being. For those following the saga, it's a mix of shock, anger, and concern, but, above all, it's a reminder that accountability matters, and that every child deserves the chance to grow in a safe, nurturing environment. Charleston White didn't mince words when he addressed Chrisean Rock's behavior during her pregnancy. He made it clear that the warning signs were evident from the very beginning, long before her son Junior was born. According to him and other observers, her actions while pregnant were deeply troubling. Actions that no responsible parent should ever engage in while carrying a child. From smoking and drinking to late-night partying and allegedly using heavier substances, Kaun's lifestyle raised serious questions about the environment she was creating for her unborn child. The troubling part isn't just the actions themselves, it's the way she seemed to flaunt them publicly. Videos of her smoking while visibly pregnant, sipping alcohol, and bragging about wild nights out have been circulating online for years. These clips became more than just viral content. They were evidence of a pattern of behavior that many felt was reckless and dangerous. People watching these videos couldn't help but ask themselves, what kind of mother would knowingly put her child at risk in this way? For many, it was shocking, confusing, and deeply upsetting. What made the situation even more alarming was the apparent lack of intervention from those closest to her. Friends, family, and acquaintances seemed hesitant or unwilling to confront her about her choices. While most people may have privately worried or whispered warnings, very few were bold enough to speak up publicly. Only a handful of insiders hinted that her behavior could have serious consequences, suggesting that her recklessness might contribute to complications for her child. Yet, those warnings often went unheard, ignored, or dismissed, leaving the public to piece together the story from social media posts and clips. Charleston and other observers argued that the stakes were incredibly high. A developing fetus is highly vulnerable to the substances a mother ingests, and even behaviors that may seem minor, like occasional smoking or drinking, can have long-term effects on a child's health, growth, and development. The concern wasn't just about morality or judgment, it was about tangible, real-world consequences. Complications ranging from developmental delays to health problems can emerge as a result of prenatal exposure to harmful substances, and the evidence suggested that Junior may have already experienced some of these challenges. Beyond the physical risks, there was also the question of modeling behavior. Children observe and internalize patterns from the very beginning, even prenatally, through maternal stress levels and lifestyle habits. Charleston highlighted that a mother's choices during pregnancy can set the tone for the child's environment after birth. By engaging in risky behavior, broadcasting it online, and seemingly prioritizing personal pleasure and attention over health, Kaun was creating a foundation of instability from the outset. This wasn't speculation. Insiders and onlookers had already seen the potential consequences manifest once the child arrived. The lack of accountability only compounded the problem. While some close to her hinted at the danger her lifestyle posed, there was no public reckoning, no intervention, and no apparent effort on her part to change or consider the child's welfare. This pattern of denial and avoidance made it difficult for anyone outside her immediate circle to fully protect the child or offer guidance. Videos, posts, and viral clips became the primary evidence of what was happening behind closed doors, allowing the public to watch a troubling narrative unfold in real time. Ultimately, Charleston's point was clear. The warning signs were undeniable. From the reckless lifestyle choices to the public bragging and lack of accountability, there was ample reason to question whether Kaun was prepared to take on the responsibility of motherhood. Her actions didn't exist in a vacuum. They had real consequences for Junior, who had to navigate the world with the results of her choices already affecting him. Observers, critics, and insiders alike began to recognize that this wasn't just about a celebrity doing wild things. Online, it was about a child's health, safety, and future, and the urgent need for accountability and proper care. There are reports of her openly smoking while fully pregnant during FaceTime calls. The internet caught on immediately, labeling her reckless, unstable, and unfit to care for a special needs child who requires patience, therapy, and real attention, not just vibes and live streams. Even now, with her son 2 years old, the behavior hasn't improved. If anything, it seems worse. A few months ago, neighbors called Child Protective Services after she left her son locked in a car to go live online. That stunt got her banned from Twitch, and while people thought it might be a wake-up call, she brushed it off like it was nothing. Soon after, another video surfaced showing her wiping her own runny nose on her son, which left people disgusted and concerned about the child's safety. The speculation grew. Was she under drugs? Mentally checked out? Simply incapable of parenting? Everyone agreed this wasn't normal. One commenter even said, she was drinking and using drugs the entire pregnancy, smoked during labor, this is child abuse. Another pointed out that she refuses to take responsibility for her son's struggles. adding fuel to the fire. Her ex-boyfriend Hudbino has been speaking out loudly. He claims to have witnessed her negligence firsthand, feeding her son unsafe foods, barely attending to his cries, and failing to give him proper nutrition. According to him, the boy only drinks milk because she's too careless to provide anything else. The consensus online is clear. Chrisean Rock's parenting is under serious scrutiny, and many believe her son has been put at risk from day one. The story has sparked a heated debate about responsibility, accountability, and what it truly means to care for a child. He said the little boy, Junior, needs proper therapy and real attention, but she's not giving it. Instead, she's treating him like an accessory, just showing him off for the camera. Hood even claimed he'd seen the child fall off the bed and she didn't even pick him up, she just let him cry there while acting like nothing happened. At this point, he's grateful he didn't have a child with her, because he's seen firsthand how incapable she is. He also talked about how she switches behavior depending on who's around. Recently, she'd been affectionate and clingy with Hood, trying to keep him close, but as soon as she heard Blueface might be released, she ran back to him without hesitation, showing where her priorities lie. Hood says she won't even cover up her recklessness, she just leaves it exposed for everyone to see. According to Hood, the child needs love, stability, and care that Chrisean isn't giving. He even said if he were Blueface, he would have taken the boy long ago because Junior deserves a safe and loving environment. He loves the child and wishes the best for him, but acknowledges he can't get that with Chrisean's current behavior. Hood has kids himself, including an autistic son, so he understands what proper support looks like. He stresses that Junior just needs the right environment, but that's missing right now. He even hinted that maybe Blueface should step in, while Chrisean gets the help she needs to get her life together. The internet has noticed too. People are questioning Blueface, asking why he keeps giving the boy back if he knows she's struggling and reckless. Last year CPS almost stepped in because of her smoking, drinking, and neglect. Charges were dropped, but many saw that as her chance to change it. Nothing has improved. Hood put it simply, she can't fix what she refuses to admit is broken. And now, with new clips of her wiping her nose on Junior and Charleston White calling her out hard, the street is watching closely. Many believe this could be the moment that finally forces serious intervention. The big question everyone's asking is, how much longer before something serious happens if nobody steps in? Is Chrisean truly overwhelmed and struggling, or is she just too reckless to care? The answers are urgent, and the conversation is far from over.